This is your Weather Xtreme video for Sunday, June the 28th. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters. Thanks for tuning in. And there's a look at our Skycam shot from the Birmingham Skycam from the Alpha Skycam network at ABC 3340. And we have a few leftover clouds as a result of a cold front that has moved through the area. The cold front expected to push down to the Gulf Coast, where there will be a few more showers if you're headed for the beach today. But it looks like for central Alabama, we'll see some drier air coming in thanks to the upper trough that is moving across the Ohio and Tennessee River valleys. We don't usually see fronts get down into the southeastern U.S. that much during the summertime. So this is kind of a pleasant thing to see, and we get a little break in the heat for today and Monday. The temperatures this morning generally are in the 60s, a nice break from yesterday where we were in the mid and lower 70s, and even a few spots in northeast Alabama dipping down into the upper 50s. So that feels nice, especially with the lower humidities. And radar still active as the frontal zone continues across South Alabama. And fortunately, much of the heat is off. Fortunately for us, the heat is off to the west as the northwestern U.S. is suffering under some heat advisories up there. And most of the rest of the country is in pretty good shape weather-wise. The focus for rain over the next 5 days is going to be with embedded systems moving through the Ohio River Valley, as well as, of course, the front that is along the Gulf Coast that will allow moisture to come back into our area starting about Tuesday. Storm Prediction Center is outlooking a slight risk for day one today across parts of Iowa, Missouri, ahead of a little weak disturbance in the upper atmosphere, and that disturbance moves into the Ohio Valley on day two, Monday. And they're trailing a little threat down into North Alabama, but for marginal severe weather risk. But I think the main threat's going to stay to our north. And good news for the tropics. The tropics remain quiet with no tropical cyclone activity expected during the next 48 hours. All right, here's the look at the 06Z GFS model run this morning. And there's our front moving down into the Gulf Coast area. Front's been a little slower to move than we actually first thought, but that's okay. It's finally arriving, so look for some drier air today with highs generally in the mid-80s. And with this trough in the upper atmosphere, we're going to stay fairly nice into Monday with generally showers both to our north and to our south. But I think that for central Alabama, we stay dry on Monday. Moisture does begin to return as the trough stays with us on Tuesday in the upper air pattern, but moisture returns, and so I think Tuesday we have to once again introduce a 20 or 30% chance for showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon, especially with this little disturbance moving through the bottom of the trough. The trough begins to show signs of weakening and just slightly moving off a little bit further to the east on July 1st, so heat levels will be back up into the upper 80s to around 90 degrees. We see that on Wednesday with the trough once again just to our east. And this northwesterly flow will allow those little embedded yellow areas you see, those little vorticity centers, so little embedded flows, little embedded short waves to come through the flow. We see another fairly substantial one on the 2nd of July coming across parts of Iowa there. And that we'll have to watch the development in this northwesterly flow pattern, because we can get the development of large clusters of thunderstorms well to our northwest that move down into our area. So we'll have to watch for that development. By the end of the week, though, the trough's showing signs of weakening, which you kind of expect. I mean, these troughs don't usually develop in the summertime like this, so you expect it to develop and then weaken. We see signs of it weakening by Saturday. And once again, we stay in moist air mass, so we stay with a chance of showers. And by Sunday, we see that the trough is pretty much a mere shadow of itself as we have these little disturbances moving primarily by just to our north. Now, getting out into Voodoo, we have, of course, the ridge comes back. That we were advertising yesterday, and we're still expecting it to come back. That's kind of a semi-permanent feature, it seems like, in the summertime. So the ridge comes back, so heat levels go up a little bit. It doesn't look like extreme heat, but we should get back into the perhaps lower and maybe even mid-90s for some spots. But some nice hope in the GFS when you get out to the 13th of July. 372 hours out in the forecast cycle. A couple of things to note. One is we once again see the ridge push back to the west, and a bit of a troughiness, not as strong as the trough we just saw, over the eastern half of the country. We also have a little bit of an area of disturbed weather in the Gulf that could become some sort of tropical thing. But you know how that is that far out into voodoo country. It's there today and gone tomorrow. That'll do it for the Weather Xtreme video for this Sunday. James Spann will be back with the next edition first thing on Monday morning. In the meantime, stay tuned to the blog for updates on Alabama's weather. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters. Have a great day and Godspeed.